Chris Robinson is here. Patrick Carlin is here. Chris, you work with Sirius now. You got a radio show.
I do. All the young people are head over heels.
They're all Snapchatting about it?
They're throwing down their devices and listening to obscure psychedelic records.
Do you get to pick your own music?
Yeah, that
Sorta,
would be
kinda?
the only reason to do it.
That's stipulation. Good for you.
Yeah, I have that kind of pioneer spirit. And no, it was, I DJ'd a lot. I'm into music. I've always been into music and been collecting records and been deep into all manner and genres and stuff. And I don't know, years ago, living in New York, me and my friend Michael Klausman, we used to DJ parties and stuff. And we were Gurus Galore was our we were DJs.
Goobers galore?
Gurus.
Gurus galore.
Nice.
Goobers Galore. That's a TV show on Fox, I think.
Starring our next president.
But I haven't seen it. So, but we would get together for kind of cool events and stuff and just play more, our record collections. It was really more just about the weird stuff that we like. But like anything else, there's a lot of music and a lot of records and a lot of stuff that doesn't get played very much because it didn't make anyone any money or it fell through the cracks, or especially when you talk about psychedelic sort of realities. A lot of people made a lot of beautiful music, but they were also beautiful people and sensitive souls, and why would you be in the music business if you were really like that? I mean, it takes another sort of layer. So, you know what I mean? Any sort of stuff like that. So when the opportunity came, I get asked occasionally to put together playlists and stuff for radio, and but this was something a little more in my kind of format I would be interested in.
Yeah.
First I just only thought it would be cool to be on at 2 a.m. for a couple hours when only real heads would be awake to listen to weird German Klaus Schulze synthesizer records and stuff.
We play those at 6 every morning.
Yeah, good.
Was there anyone in
the world needs it? Trust me.
Were you turned on to music by radio when you were growing up? Listened to the radio? Were there
Not
cool
really,
DJs
man.
in Atlanta?
To be honest, yeah. I was lucky. My dad was a retired folkie by the time I came along, but still in it enough. We grew up in Atlanta that we grew up going to a lot of hootenannies, and just music in general was pretty, I knew that folk songs came from this country or whatever, and then when they came here, they turned into this, and so music was around, and my parents had a lot of records. Compared maybe to the average family might have only had, in the late 60s, early 70s, 8 or 9 or 10 records, they say. My parents had a couple hundred records.
Which ones stick out to you? Which ones do you remember?
Lots, Mose Allison records and Jimmy Driftwood records, or Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs, to, my dad was one of those dudes who didn't buy any Bob Dylan records when he went electric, so I had all the earlier Bob Dylan records, but then that was cool for me because I loved those records, and it really, it was that was the most punk rock thing I could have done is, play Blonde on Blonde 24 hours a day. My dad was hated that. I was like, how dare you, But the Byrds, they didn't have a lot of rock and roll records. Jimmy Reed but the rock and roll records they had an impression on me too, like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, of course, but Mad Dogs and Englishmen and Leon Russell and stuff, and so it was. But living it in the South is I haven't lived there for a long time. I've been in California 26 years or something, but it's a musical existence, A lot of the music forms and all the forms that we end up calling rock and roll are things that blues, and where that spread into jazz and all this kind of African music with European music where it gets all mixed and mashed together. That petri dish is the South, Yeah. So I think that's one of the, maybe one of the only real parts of it that I can identify with is something that I feel is progressive and really positive, is all that stuff, creates a soulful reality.
Do you get tired of having to put labels on things? Because everybody's got to label music.
Yeah, no, not really, because, I love, again, making music for a long time and being, blessed and lucky enough that anyone cares is one thing. But when you really love music, like there's that interview where Thelonious Monk is a great master of music. Is some guy in Europe asked him, have you ever heard country music? And he's looks at his guy and goes, why would he ask me that? Of course I know what it is. I'm a musician. I like music. And the point would be musicians they don't really, people who make money off music need to put it in the right shelf at the store. And now those shelves don't exist. And you know what I mean? So, but they still have to put it somewhere. So now they put it in your commercials and your movies. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's the same. It's the same racket, But the other kind of cool part is where we are in this day and age is you can remove yourself from that system and still exist. I mean, if you were prone to science fiction plot lines, if we all crashed on a spaceship, you could still use some of the infrastructure left for survival purposes, But
you've really thought about this?
Yeah, well, I grew up in it, and I had great success in the system, but that system also gave me great. It wasn't fulfilling, you know what I mean? To feel like I was working for dudes who'd sell anything. And and
cars
I
or records.
For a Sagittarian person who's the lead singer in a rock band, I wasn't that in love with myself to listen to any of their kind of bile about what they thought. Who cares what you think? If I make a mistake with my music, that's my mistake to make. If I listen to you and make a mistake, you just move on to the next sucker. You know what I mean? Or next person who wants to, didn't have the guts to really call themselves an advertising executive or something. So, well, I mean, it's problematic to some people because of commerce and stuff. But, music is something that's deep, inspirational place of. We listen to music, we weep and we wail. The joyous times and the saddest times. Weddings and funerals. Yeah. And, you write the songs that hopefully, that can be played at both, or the things that fill that kind of space. So I don't take it lightly,
Do you feel like you've accomplished something when you write that song that fits the weeping and the wailing?
I think,
the wedding and the funeral?
Completely. I mean, hopefully, on an emotional level. But I feel we've accomplished anything by just being a bunch of weirdos who are still even talking about rock and roll or talking that anyone listens to the music that I've written, or, you know what I mean? That's kind of a cool, I still find it to be, as cliche as rock and roll has become in a way, I still find the whole experience to be really unique, what I've see and what is, as the sands of time blow past us all, we're here at winter's door.
You've written some songs that are going to last. You've written some songs that are going to be around a while.
The thing is, you just if they connect, they connect.
Right.
I was just also mixed up in the head enough that I don't feel I needed to build any sort of monument to the songs that maybe were more popular than others, or that I have to stop and become a devotee of this thing. To me, the whole idea to get into this life and to be a musician and to call myself an artist was all based around writing songs as a youth, because no one told me I could sing or I was a good singer. You tell people back in the 80s in Atlanta, I'm gonna drop out of university to be in a band, they're like, well, you're an idiot, and you can't do that, and then you do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
did that inspire you? Were you one of those kids that when you were told you can't do that, you had to do it?
It didn't. I already in my dyslexic sort of place that I came from already was seeing things outside of the box. That's the great gift of being dyslexic. Is it didn't bother me. I had a different relationship with time too, So yeah, the motivation and what I was looking for was great adventure, and these things are born of literary needs, But for me, rock and roll also started to have all this other stuff, then you can sing and you can perform. But rock and roll also was a great way for me to keep up with my graphic arts interest and work with artists and design and I was always doing that with almost every album cover of any record I've done, so from the merchandise, the way it looks, stage design, all of it, it would seem like, besides just being the songwriter, you could do all this other stuff, so it was
a creative swimming pool.
well, it is. Well,
Jump right in.
A lot of people will just do one thing, and then they have a team of people who hire someone who does this, and they say yes or no. But that wasn't going to be. That's not why I got into music. I didn't get into it to take it easy. You know what I mean?
Is it easy? Is it easy or hard to find like-minded individuals that have kind of a vision of your path and what you want? And do you know right away when you find those people?
Well, I think any relationship is born of a certain, divine chemistry animal thing that we have. And with music, it's really easy, too. It's like basketball.
Yeah. Another language.
It really
It's a
is.
language,
Well, the
yeah.
thing is, you might have, and there's great musicians who do great stuff, Some people are great at playing the same thing, and making it perfect. Some people are good at improvisation. Some people their quality could be something that is intangible. It's not about that. They bring some vibes. They might not even be the best. So for your starting five or whatever, sometimes you don't need five guys that are all superstars. You need the best five for that group of people who can have the most to say with what they're given in a night, And for us, our music we want it to be expressive. We want it to feel inviting and warm, and there should be a nice, heady, stoned, incense, cosmic California vibe to it that comes out wherever we go. Because even though we can be transplanted to California, most of us have been there for a long, long time, and you surrender to California or you go away, and I surrendered a long time ago. But that's, you know what I mean? So it depends on if everyone's goals are the same thing. If you want to be famous and make a lot of money, you'll go and do that, and that's super cool if that's your priority. If your other thing is a little different, then that's available too. I like that. Can you live with the decision? It's other people that always, if you're in charge of making some sort of commerce happen, it's other people who get paid off of it who want more maybe sometimes than the person that's doing it. The scale of the CRB and what I'm learning as a person and a friend and a bandmate and all that stuff is way worth more than anything, because we just turned that around, and we've said since we started, as long as we just keep our heads in the music, stuff will happen. Either it'll go forward or it'll go backwards, and it'll let us know. And we just keep we have a new song that has a line in it, "This cannonball only rolls one way," and that's kind of where we are.
Hey, Chris Robinson, playing tonight here at Mount Jam, live at Radio Woodstock. Big Sur, are you around Big Sur in California?
We're in Big Sur quite a bit, but no, I'm north of San Francisco in Marin County.
Nice.
Yeah.
A lot of history there.
Yeah. It's still happening. The history is happening daily.
You're helping to make it there.
In the Golden State. Well, California is still a place of adventure, and, we'll see what happens with, if recreational marijuana goes legal, and now, there's a lot of, there's a lot of positive stuff, When the planet is sick, we all are sick. We're all the same living organism. But luckily, just like if we listen to our inner voice and trust ourselves, the planet also gives us great answers to heal ourselves, and sometimes that healing is a psychic healing, so it gets us all this anxiety and fear and stuff out there. So, we're lucky to live in a time where we can recognize that, and hopefully
especially if you're in California, in Northern California.
Well,
I think it's easier to recognize than maybe in Atlanta or Cleveland.
Someone who's in jail for, illegal blotter acid weights from the 90s, and they're still in jail from Grateful Dead tour. Somewhere in their consciousness, at least when they get out, will understand in some places the world's getting to be more realistic on some things. Some places, the walls of Babylon, they'll take forever to fall. But, You know what I mean? So it's just more about being, as the rest of the world becomes more inhumane, can we become more humane?
Wouldn't this be a good time to have Patrick Carlin present Chris with a pack of our Woodstock rolling papers?
We're getting ready for legalization.
Is he the custodial? It's his duty. Let's take it out of like a locker. And stuff. You need a better presentation for that build-up. I hate to say it. But,
Chris Robinson, Brotherhood is tonight here at 7:15. You should do a TED Talk, man. That was awesome.
Oh, no way, really?
Musicians and people should hear more what you say about that stuff.
Yeah, cool. Well, hopefully, the music
does that
reverberates
too.
with that as well, and some of the stuff we want to do with it and how we do it is real important too. Like I said, it's pretty cool to be. It's cool to be running around playing rock and roll music in this day and age. So.
About a year and a half ago, you were at the Bearsville Theater, and you played live on the air for us, and you did a song called "When the Music's Hot," which I'd never heard before.
Yeah, Slim Harpo. We kind of Slim Harpo tune, and I kind of turned the arrangement around a little bit. I'm sure Slim would be very disappointed in us, but but we really like the song and love Slim Harpo.
And I wasn't disappointed. Can we play that?
Yeah, of course, please.
Right.
Play it more than once. Play it back to back if you want.
All right.
We'll give you these papers.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Chris Robinson and the Chris Robinson Brotherhood.
'Cause I won't feel my heartache, gone without my moaning. Let me go, you done it once before. The shape of pose, get lost in X-ray histories, bright lights, crystal submarine. She's in the water next to me.